Hello again. On the heels of the first presidential debate, neither candidate wasted any time returning to the campaign trail. Today, Republican nominee Donald Trump is holding a rally in Council Bluffs, and we'll take you there live in just a moment. Also coming up on the program, UNO Chancellor John Christensen joins us to discuss his decision to retire after almost 40 years as a Maverick. I'm Avery Wink. These stories and more coming up on the Omaha News.
From the studios of UNO Television, this is the Omaha News, presented by UNO School of Communication.
Just 6 weeks remain until the election, and tomorrow voters can begin casting early ballots in Iowa and Illinois. So it's no surprise that one of the two major party candidates has decided to hold a rally in Council Bluffs today. Our reporter Alex Abler is at the Mid-America Center where Donald Trump is making a campaign appearance. Alex, what can you tell us about the event?
Thank you, Avery. Donald Trump is just about to wrap up here at the Mid-America Center in Council Bluffs. The main things he hit on during his speech were the military, the economy, and building small farms, and of course, Hillary Clinton. The big thing that Donald Trump has behind him is the Iowa Conservatives for Republicans here today in the Mid-America Center. Also, I talked to multiple people before this rally, and the biggest overwhelming thing was making America great again. Reporting live from the Mid-America Center in Council Bluffs, I'm Alex Abler.
On Monday night, the first presidential debate took place between the two major candidates. That evening, UNO students gathered in the Student Union to watch and interact using social media. Joining us now is the event organizer, Dr. Barb Pickering of the School of Communication. And Dr. Pickering, you moderated that night. What was the overall feeling as the debate went on and afterwards?
Well, it was a great night. We've had Debate Watch events on campus at UNO 4 times now for presidential elections, and the turnout was really good. We had 200 plus people in the audience, and it was a very diverse audience. We had a group of international leaders who are here at UNO participating in the event, and it was great to see people get interested in politics, particularly the younger voters who tend not to show up at the ballot box.
What were the discussions like during the debate? What sort of directions did those go?
Well, we used Twitter as our means of communication this year. We did this in 2012, and so the discussions were really taking place on the social media front. And we had different feeds going. We had a connection to the American Democracy Project Twitter site. We had the two candidates, and then we had a PolitiFact site going on one screen. So a lot of the discussion was in the form of social media, so there were lots of memes that were exchanged in the course of the evening.
Of course.
People responding to things that the candidates said, advancing their own arguments, retweeting fact-check information. So we haven't gotten a chance to go through all of the data yet, but it looked like we had a very active set of discussion points.
As far as the people that did attend, you said you had a lot of diversity. Did you notice, maybe more adults, or were there some younger kids that attended as well? Because I know they've been talking about will millennials get out and vote. Did you get a sense of that?
This time we had hoped that we could attract people from the community to come and participate as well. But the audience was largely college-age students, and in that sense, it's really important that they come to these events and watch the debates and get the information and see, the candidates side by side, as opposed to their surrogates or the commercials or things that they may see in social media or other media forms.
Well, talking about those social media forms, I think that's kind of taken a life of its own. You were talking about memes being exchanged during this. That's really where we've gone, right? You have like these videos, short clips of like each candidate, doing their weird movements, and people are like, well, how are we going to vote for these people? How has social media really affected the landscape of this election?
Well, this election in particular has taken on a life of its own, as you said, in part because you have one candidate of a major party who does a lot of tweeting, and that's Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton also participates, but you see both her comments or her staff's comments in the social media exchanges. It changes the dynamic because it requires that you shorten whatever sorts of points you want to try and make. And in many cases, the extremes or the more outrageous sorts of things become a part of the political debate. And I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing, because it does then make the voters have to spend some additional time finding out things about candidates that they can find in areas where there's more gatekeeping, if you will, as far as the accuracy of information.
And this health thing between both candidates, so before the debate it was, well, is Hillary healthy enough to be the president? And then there was this snifflegate, if you will, with Donald Trump. Do you think that had any effect on how people are seeing these two candidates, as far as health is concerned? Because I feel like since the debate happened, we haven't heard much about Hillary's health, and it's kind of swung over to Donald.
That's the sort of thing that gets media attention, those sorts of nonverbal behaviors, or the things that are the great lines that candidates practice prior to a debate. Those get attention, and they'll be the things that we remember about the debate. In terms of affecting the election, they don't really come down to making a big difference in how the election turns out and how people's support kind of ebbs and flows.
Well, Dr. Pickering, we appreciate you coming on the show today. You'll be able to see her on November 8th as well. We'll be having our own election coverage beginning at 7 o'clock. We'll bring you live and local election coverage from the death penalty repeal to the 2nd Congressional District and the White House race. We will have all the election night results for you right here on the Omaha News. Coming up after the break, we will be joined by John Christensen. He'll reflect on his 10 years as the Chancellor of UNO. Stay with us.
Create,
thank you very much. I
innovate,
appreciate it.
Discover.
I'll be here on November 8th as well,
Library,
so I'm sure
where scholar meets creative. Located in downtown Omaha, Coneco Library is designed to bridge education and creation. For students and community members alike, both loud in expression and quiet in nature, encouraging forward thinkers to collaborate in a beautiful space of creative scholarly consciousness. Coneco UNO Library, open space for your mind where momentum is accomplished.
The first broadcast was to be at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. We'd pre-taped it. And they pushed the switch and nothing happened.
That certainly was an interesting experience with me. I mean, I'd spent 2 years essentially getting this station ready, and we had everything prepared to go, and then we flipped the switch and heard silence.
Somehow the line had got wired through a light switch.
Mm-hmm. And a guy out there went off shift at 4 o'clock at the exact moment we were to go on. He pushed the switch and we went off the air before we went on.
The engineer went back to this little room, turned the lights on. And I said, well, everything's fine here, everything seems to be working. So, okay, well, we've got a signal now. So the guy thinks, well, I'll go home. He goes home, turns the light switch off, then KVNO goes off the air again.
We were supposed to sign on at 4, and I think it must have been about 5:30 when we finally got the thing on the air. That was certainly an experience I'll never forget.
Good afternoon. KVNO, the voice of the University of Nebraska at Omaha, now begins its regular broadcast schedule. Welcome to Fine Arts Radio for Greater Omaha, KVNO.
This is the Omaha News.
After 10 years of service as the head of UNO, John Christensen announced Monday that he will be stepping down from his role as chancellor. Christensen made the announcement inside the atrium of Roskins Hall, home of the College of Education, where he first served years ago as a faculty member and dean. I had a chance to talk to Chancellor Christensen earlier this afternoon, and he explained why the timing felt right for his retirement.
Well, as I said then, perhaps it was the right time because I'm a rapidly aging Dane. But on a serious note, it was really related to conversations I had with my family, and given the schedule that comes along with these kinds of positions, I've not had a lot of opportunities to participate in family events. And this all kind of struck me because we have our seventh grandchild's coming here in a couple of weeks, and I really felt like it was time to stay doing things at UNO, but perhaps freeing up a little more time to be with family.
Well, first off, congratulations. That's very
Thank
exciting. What's next then? You said you're going to be working on special projects.
Right.
What does that really entail?
Well, when I talked with board members and talked with President Bounds, and they were very supportive, we have a variety of things that are kind of in process right now. There may be other major projects that come up on campus. I'd be happy to help with anything that people think might be useful and important. But for example, we've been working here for a while on raising funding to expand the biomechanics building. The incredible challenge is they have been so successful they're out of space. And so it's about a $12 million capital project. We have about a little over $8 million already committed, and so that's the kind of thing I thought about. Could I be helpful perhaps in moving that forward by helping collect some additional support so we could get that in process? And I'm also working on several with community people. I'm working with Randy Schmazel, who's the president of Metro Community College. I'm working on several projects in terms of growing more scholarship support for our students. The entire spectrum of students, those that may not have much money or their families don't have much money, versus those young people who will be at the top of the spectrum intellectually, but may not have the dollars available for them as well.
And speaking of the students, you've always had a distinct relationship with the students here, and it's
Yes.
grown a lot over the past couple of years, especially with the success we've seen. Why has that always been important to you to have that relationship with the student body?
Well, I've said this before. I did a master's degree here. My grandparents were Danish immigrants. My grandmother at a Sunday lunch when I was a senior said, "You're going to go to college," and no one else in the Christensen family had that privilege. And she said, "You're going to go to the only Danish college in the United States, and that's in Blair." So I did that, but I didn't have a clue as to what graduate education was, to be honest with you. I came to UNO, and I'm telling you, the faculty and the staff pushed me hard. They set the bar very high, but they were always there to offer support. They didn't let you fall down the steps, so to say. And in so many words, that changed my life. And it's been my feeling since I had that opportunity that it's my responsibility to try to help change other people's lives. And I love the kids. They're great. They're fun to be around. They're bright. They're involved. And hopefully we're able to perhaps influence their lives in positive ways.
Well, you're the first alumni chancellor, and you've done so much for this university over the past 10 years. Can you speak a little bit about the growth at UNO as a whole, about the whole college?
It's been significant, and once again, much thanks needs to be offered to our community who stepped up and believe that we were committed to serving the students, but in addition to serving students, also serving the community in a whole variety of ways. I think the Community Engagement Center, the work we do with nonprofits, organizations, all of that, the economic impact we've had. But with the kids, What we're doing is training tomorrow's leaders. We're helping to educate those people. So for me, it's about places and spaces. I don't say this in a negative way, but I don't care what the building is, so to say. What I care about is that it advances our opportunities for teaching and learning, for research, and also I think this is incredibly important, that's campus life for the students, faculty, and staff, that we are the Maverick family, and I think it feels like that today when you walk around. People care about one another.
UNO has more than 15,000 students this fall. This represents the second straight year of that record growth. With more on this, our reporter Alex Abler explored what it takes to facilitate a growing university.
The University of Nebraska at Omaha is growing. This year, UNO is bolstering its largest, most diverse student body in the history of the university. Lena Stover, Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions, says that growing university takes more than academics.
It's a mixture of things. For example, our learning communities that provides peer support to students in many different environments.
Stover also says that it's about infrastructure.
Learning communities that allow for students to be successful, I think that's one key component, that students that come to UNO are supported. The other component is, of course, our facilities. I mean, the fact that we're going to build, that we have new housing and new parking facilities, Scott Crossing with the new housing.
While the amount of multicultural students has grown here on UNO's campus, some students don't agree that the university has a lot of diversity. Amy Reyes, a student worker in the Multicultural Affairs Office, says that she doesn't see a lot of diversity.
We lack diversity, I would say, because in some areas you'll see the diversity is big, but then, for example, I lived on campus and I was like the only Mexican American there. So we lack diversity, but at the same time we're growing.
UNO has plans in place and construction has begun to make the university larger and more involved with the students. For the Omaha News, I'm Alex Abler.
UNO set a goal of 20,000 students by the year 2020. University of Nebraska President Hank Bounds issued a statement today defending the First Amendment rights of students, faculty, and staff. His statement came in response to the actions of 3 Nebraska football players taking a knee during the national anthem prior to the game last Saturday against Northwestern. Bounds said Board of Regents policy guarantees the University of Nebraska will not restrict the First Amendment rights of any student or employee. He says he is unwavering in his commitment to the First Amendment and the University of Nebraska policy. After the break, we'll tell you about a program that's helping underprivileged pre-med students get into medical school. Stay tuned.
Just recently, MAP Radio has won several awards, both from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association as well as the Broadcast Education Association. And I think it just is proof that our students are doing work that is equivalent, if not surpassing, other students around the nation. So I'm really proud of where we've come, and I can't wait to see where we're going.
Watch ICU Learning English on the Knowledge Network.
A little bit about how you're feeling right now. One thing you would like our viewers to know about this state.
The importance of volunteerism.
What are you saying to folks?
I'm here to discuss these images.
When you can take that knowledge and that expertise and that passion in terms that they're all going to understand.
They need to know the real stories.
I'm Kathy Wyatt. Join us for Consider This each week on NET1.
The UNO Jazz Band is an internationally acclaimed ensemble that has toured both Europe and Asia 3 different times.
Hello, my name is Hector Tornes. I play the alto sax.
That
has helped me in so many ways that I can't even describe right now. It's really opened my mind. I'm being blessed right now and be able to play and learn.
You've always known you were a leader, someone who works hard to achieve your goals. You can see it. You can see your success in front of you. You pursue a college education for the old-fashioned reasons, to learn, to make yourself more valuable, to succeed. You need a place that celebrates your ambition and positions you alongside visionary people just like you. You, my friend, belong here, the University of Nebraska at Omaha.
This is the Omaha News.
A new program is starting to gain ground at both the UNO and UNMC campus. Our Sierra Watson has more on how a program called UHOP is helping more of our underrepresented groups right here in our Omaha metro area. Sierra?
At the Molecular Parasitology Lab located in Alwine Hall at UNO, students are partaking in a new program, UHOP, or the Urban Health Opportunities Program. They are young physicians in the making.
The goal is to help these students overcome or fill in any gaps that may exist.
As I grew older, I kind of realized the education gaps between certain regions of Omaha, and I was fortunate enough to experience my communication skills.
Pre-med UHOP students Mark Carter, Daisy Gomez, and Daniela Cortez Reyes all agree that UHOP is beneficial to their education.
The amazing opportunities you get through the program, you get shadow opportunities, volunteer opportunities, other things of that nature.
UHOP director Dr. Paul Davis agreed that UHOP aids students on all levels to help them succeed.
We think that we've got the start of something very, very good. The goal, again, is not to have these students just enter into medical school or survive it, but it's to excel.
Among the many commitments that UHOP requires from its students, they must be enrolled full-time at UNO. They must be involved in community volunteering. Students must participate in summer enrichment programs, and they must have quarterly meetings with a UHOP peer mentor. Research technician Sydney Zock says that time management is also an important factor when joining the UHOP program.
You're falling behind your peers if you're not being able to manage your time effectively.
I think there's something to be had with the thought that unto whom much is given, much is expected.
Together, partnering with UNMC, program directors like Dr. Paul Davis will prepare qualified students from underrepresented groups to enter and succeed in medical school.
Thanks, Sierra. The Douglas County Board has asked Governor Pete Ricketts to rename Dodge Street after the board voted unanimously to change it. Board member Chris Rogers says state government approval is necessary because Dodge Street is also a state highway, but no new signage will be needed because of the new name of Dodge Street, Dodge Street. Currently, Dodge is named after a controversial figure, pro-slavery Iowa Senator Augustus Caesar Dodge. The proposal changes the memorialization to Union Pacific Railroad engineer and Union Army General Grenville Dodge and his brother N.P. Dodge. Who doesn't enjoy the unconditional love of a pet? Some prefer dogs, others prefer cats, but not everyone knows that there are limits to how many pets people can own. That coming up next on the Omaha News.
UNO TV invites you to take a journey around the world, to lush jungles with endangered species, to exotic lands and different cultures, to lost cities beneath the sands. Travel through time to see ancient secrets on the other side of the world, the growth of the American West, or the start of Nebraska's largest city. Or just explore our state. Find out about Nebraska in World War II. Learn how Omaha has grown since. Discover the effort to renovate its green spaces, the history of one of its most impressive buildings, or look at its internationally recognized university. For over 20 years, UNO TV has produced award-winning documentaries that explore, educate, and enlighten. To find out more, call 402-554-2516 or visit unotv.unomaha.edu.
When it comes to pets, too much of a good thing can become a bad thing. Omaha News reporter Tiara Charay has more on what happens when legal pet limits are exceeded.
If you're like most Omaha residents, the love you have for your pets is probably unlimited. But you might not know that the number of pets you can have is limited.
I'm gonna guess you can have 4 dogs.
2 dogs.
10 dogs and 10 cats.
2 cats.
One Omaha woman is very familiar with these legal limits.
5 cats and 3 dogs. They don't put a limit on parrots. I also have some of those as well.
The Omaha City Council passes these ordinances, which the Nebraska Humane Society enforces.
People who have pets always say, oh my gosh, if the limits were more, I would have 100. And I think that's what the city worries about a little bit, is that if the limits were higher, that people would end up with just tons and tons of animals and not be able to take care of them.
When such violations occur, Field Operations Vice President Mark Langen says the Humane Society first issues a warning.
Many times we'll work with them to try to place those animals in other family members' houses, or they can surrender the animals to us here at the Nebraska Humane Society.
When families are uncooperative, the Humane Society can issue a citation. Then, the pet owners must answer to a judge.
We have people that'll have maybe 100 cats in their house.
You can get a pet avocation permit that allows for 5 dogs or 6 cats, but no more than a combined total of 8 dogs and cats. For the Omaha News, I'm Tiara Charay.
For more information about state and city pet ordinances, visit the Nebraska Humane Society at nehumanesociety.org. The KVNO Fall Fund Drive begins today and runs through Tuesday, October 4th. As a non-commercial radio station, Classical 90.7 asks listeners to become donors and contribute to keep classical music on the air. To donate, log on to the station website at kvno.org. That's our program for today. For all of us at the Omaha News, thanks for watching.
Watch the Omaha News Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on the Knowledge Network.
Nebraska at Omaha is a place for tomorrow's leaders. A place where individuals converge on a path to success, getting the attention and direction they need as they begin their career. It's where students take pride in serving Omaha, a city we've invested in for more than 100 years. UNO is a place where greatness begins. The University of Nebraska at Omaha.